everyone, and welcome to another episode of Leaderable. I'm your host, Ivana Sedia, and today, as our guest, we have Ms. Anna Weselak from Weselak Associates. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks, Ivana. It's a pleasure to be
It's
here.
a pleasure to meet you finally.
As you as well.
Wonderful. So tell me, who is Anna Weselak in 3 words?
If I chose 3 words, the 3 that come to mind to me are teacher, leader, and mentor. That's kind of what I've done my whole life through.
Great. Those are powerful 3 good words. And how long have you been making your business succeed?
I've been in business, running my own business for 27 years. So Weselak Associates was born 27 years ago.
Wow, that's phenomenal. And how did you start your business and why?
I started my business, I've always felt I was a teacher. And so being able to help and teach others was important to me. I was looking for something to do that was flex time, that would allow me to do a variety of activities, not only my business, but volunteer activities as well. And I was looking for some kind of work that would allow me to teach, bring everything together that I've learned lifelong, and to make a supplemental income for our family, because I have 3 children who were interested in going to college. And so something must have worked somewhere, because all 3 of them have graduated from college, have professional degrees, and they all are in their own homes and successful in their careers.
Congratulations as a mama. I know
Thank you.
it's not easy. Can you tell me about a difficult situation in your life?
Yeah, probably one of the most difficult situations in my life was the loss of a baby that was born and lived for 2 days. And that just seemed to totally change my perspective on life.
I'm so sorry to hear that. Was there a time that you had to adapt to significant changes?
Well, as many of us have needed to adapt during the COVID pandemic, I did too. When COVID hit and we were not able to meet with people in person and we were kind of stuck in our houses, I thought, whoa, this may be the end of the business. How do I do what I do when I can't meet with people? Because I primarily lead workshops and seminars. And so it wasn't until one of my clients called me and said, we need to get together with you. Are you willing to work with us? How can we do this? And I became a Zoomer, I guess you would call it.
Yeah.
A quick study of Zoom, and learned how to do that, to do interactive seminars and workshops, and it grew from there. And fortunately, I was able to continue through my business through that whole year, and I didn't have just one client, but most of my clients all wanted to do work with me. I even got a couple new ones that year.
That's wonderful. That's a great example of how to survive COVID. And I know that you are known to do DISC assessments. What is DISC for our viewers, for those who don't know?
DISC is a 4-quadrant behavioral identification model. So it helps individuals to identify one of 4 behavioral styles. The acronym DISC really stands for those 4 styles. There's dominant, interactive, steady, and careful or cautious. And so it's sometimes referred to as a personality assessment. It's truly not that. It's a behavioral assessment. Of course, our behavior is a part of our personality, but it doesn't measure personality as much as it measures behavior. And so it's a really simple tool, and it's intended to be that way. It's intended to be simple to administer, simple to understand, so that anyone can take it, and you don't have to be a clinician to administer it or to even understand it.
Wow, that's amazing. And how accurate is DISC?
DISC can be extremely accurate. I am fortunate that I have chosen 3 different publishers that I work with. So I have access to 3 different versions of DISC, but every single one of them are well researched, and they are third-party assessed, and they are reliable and valid and tested to be that way. So there are lots of different companies that offer a version of DISC. I always recommend to my clients, look for one that has the reliability and the validity factors that prove that it's a good tool. And be careful when you see those offers online to get a free disc, because sometimes you get what you pay for.
What kind of assessments do you offer?
I offer primarily behavioral assessments in order to build interpersonal relationships, better communication, help people with self-awareness of who they really are and not necessarily who they think they are.
That happens a lot.
And so we get past self-perception to self-realization. And not only of ourselves, but we learn more about each other. And it helps individuals to be more productive in the work that they do. It allows people to find ways that they work together better in teams. They can be better managers, better leaders, better salespeople and customer service. And that in turn helps the company to be more productive in the work that they do.
So you may have answered this question, but after, say, I were to get assessed, what is the purpose of the assessments?
Yeah, again, the purpose of the assessment is to tell us who we really are, not who we perceive ourselves to be, and also to give us a baseline. When we're working with other people, particularly with a team, we now have a common language. We all can understand each other better. I teach a technique called people reading, where we can work with someone who we don't know their disc style, but we can make a really good guess or assumption of what that style is just by observing someone else's behavior.
Do you recommend this for new hires, and why?
I do recommend DISC for new hires as a part of their onboarding process, and I do caution clients not to do it too quickly, because our behavior is based on our environment, and if they've not been in an environment for very long, they don't know how they've adapted to it, and their true strengths don't necessarily come out. So about 30 to 60 days after a new hire comes on board, doing a DISC assessment can be extremely helpful to not only that individual, but to their manager and to the teams that they work on.
And from all your experience in doing these assessments, do you think that a person changes at work versus at home?
It may appear that they do, but basically everyone's behavioral style stays pretty much the same. But it might look differently because as human beings, we adapt to our environment. And so a work environment is going to be different than a home environment. So we may just have a broader or a different realm of behaviors, but it can still be within that behavioral style. So for instance, if somebody measures dominant at work, they may be very goal-oriented, they may be very driven and control, but at home, their high D style, or dominant style as we call it, would probably be more problem-solving and more decision-making than it might be at work. So they would still be within that behavioral style, the characteristics of that style, but they just look different.
And now, as some people know, I speak 4 languages, and there are certain subjects that I prefer to hear in my first language, which is Spanish. Do you offer these assessments in other languages?
I do offer assessments in other languages. I'm fortunate, again, with the publishers that I work with, that they offer the reports in other languages. And I'm also very fortunate to be working with Leaderable, because the team at Leaderable is able to help translate materials as well as translate the language during seminars and workshops. So by working with others who speak different languages,
Spanish.
I can write like Spanish and German and other languages. I can be able to help the participants gain a lot of value from it. Also, I have found, I do have an international company that I work with, and their employees from around the world speak many more languages than we do in the US. And so many of them are relatively affluent in English and literate in English enough to be able to take the assessments. But for those who are not, then we turn to companies like Leaderable, And they assist us in working primarily with the Spanish-speaking
The Hispanic
populations.
community.
Mhm.
This is all wonderful stuff, and I hope everyone can take quite advantage of it. Also, one of my questions on this show is always, what is Leaderable to you?
Leaderable to me is a great name for a company, as well as a company that can help bring out the leadership capabilities of everyone. Everyone is a leader in some way or shape or form. And we all use different leadership techniques that are needed at different times. And we also have leadership styles that we are most comfortable with. And so Leaderable helps people to utilize their strengths as a leader, plus adapt to the kind of leadership style that's needed for the organization at any point in time.
You too can be leaderable.
That's
Well,
right.
Thank you so much for this interview. You are a great example of leadership.
Thank you.
And would you like to add anything else to our viewers?
Well, if people have questions that we have not answered for you here today, they can contact me through my website, which is just Weselak, Weselak.com, or contact me directly by email at aweselak, that's AWESELAK @weselak.com. And if you contact me, I'd be happy to offer you a free assessment.
Sounds like a great opportunity, everyone. Well, thank you so much to our viewers for joining us today. Please remember to look for Leaderable on YouTube and like or subscribe so that you are always updated with our newest podcast available. And well, thank you for being with me today. It was
Thanks
a
so much.
pleasure.
It was a pleasure being with you as well, and always happy to talk about DISC and what I do.
Yes, and I'm sure you'll be back on here pretty soon again. We'll be talking more about this. This is a very interesting
Happy to.
subject.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Ciao.